All right, so we got another episode of Up in Your Business here. I believe. Let me double check my facts here, but I believe we're on episode 15. I'm just gonna check here.
It's a good number.
Oh, we're on 16. We just did 15.
Nice.
So this is episode 16, Up in Your Business, and we're here with Shannon Horton of Digital Faces Marketing.
What's up, man?
So Shannon, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course.
And go from there.
Yeah. So my name is Shannon with Digital Faces. We are a social media agency where we predominantly focus on service-based businesses, generating leads, generating interest, and building up their database using social media ads and also coordination too. So from creating the content, managing the content, to creating the ads, we kind of manage that whole process for them. But our bread and butter is pretty much the social media ads and management of that ads. So yeah, man, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun out here in LA.
All right, Shannon. So one of the segments we do, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but one of the segments we do is called 20 questions.
Cool.
So it's not actually 20, but it's like rapid fire.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, you go.
All right. Favorite color?
Blue.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Left or right?
Right.
Pick a number 1 to 10.
7.
Everyone says 7.
Yeah, no.
Favorite number?
Favorite number?
Yeah.
I'll say 3.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
I'm leaning on tea nowadays.
Tea?
Yeah.
All right. Favorite liquor?
Drink or just liquor in general?
Liquor.
Vodka.
Okay. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Iced coffee.
Steak or chicken?
Steak.
Oreo or Chips Ahoy?
Oreo.
Okay. Favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Work from home or in an office?
Home.
Last time you ran a mile or close?
Last week.
Okay, cool. Ding, ding,
Dude,
ding.
that was nice.
That's it.
That was nice.
That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
All right.
No, yeah. I've been, I don't know, with the whole coffee thing. I think I really wasn't a coffee drinker, but now I'm kind of starting to be. I was really into tea for the longest, but I don't know. It might change.
I used to hate coffee growing up, actually.
Me too.
And then I did like a stint where I was on tea for a while.
Yeah.
And then I got into like real coffee, because when I first got into coffee, I was into like iced caramel, French vanilla,
like the
extra,
frappes, all those
just
little,
like pure sugar.
Yeah, basically with a drop of coffee in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think, as I work more, I don't know, like people are like, oh, drink coffee, so I just try it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works, or is it my psychology thinking, oh, since I'm drinking coffee, I'm
more energetic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards nowadays. And plus, there's Starbucks everywhere around here, so it's kind of, you just get sucked into the.
Oh yeah, Starbucks, and then like all these little coffee shops out here that are awesome.
Man, you got to drink coffee these days. I don't know, so yeah, I'll kind of lean more towards that. But man. Yeah.
So I didn't do a lot of prep for this one.
No,
but,
man. Love that you came out to LA.
Kind of kicking it, so I think I'm pretty ready to dive into it. So
yeah, man.
Let's go. So first question is, where did you grow up, and what kind of things were you into, in your teenage years?
Yeah, good question. So I grew up, born and raised in Palmdale, Lancaster. It's called Antelope Valley as a whole, which is part of LA County still, but a little different.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's a part of LA County, but it's totally different. Totally different. And back in the day, I used to sell candy. So really? I used to sell candy back in the day in high school and middle school, and I was really into that. Like I sold I just built up a collection. I sold everything from obviously the chocolates to Slim Jims to just everything you can think of, man. Airheads, like I just had it all, dude. Like, and Cheetos, hot Cheetos, and just like. Dude, my bag was so heavy in the beginning, like when I was walking into school, and then as soon as I was walking out, it just kind of got empty and stuff like that. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. So, yeah, I was selling candy, and then in the summertime, I do like rake leaves because of the fall.
Yep.
Or I do washing cars, and then I actually got into beat making. I used to make beats with my buddy. Back in the day, and I don't know why, but I kind of had this like life talk with myself. I'm like, look, Shannon, you're either gonna dive into business or beat making. What are you gonna do? Like, I was like probably like a sophomore, and I was having this mental talk with myself, like, you have to do one or the other. And so like I stopped making beats for him, and then just went all into candy and just doing like little businesses here, the car washes and just stuff like that. I was always into business.
That's funny. I was the same way. And like you said, in the fall, I was raking leaves. Yeah. Springtime, I was like mowing the lawn. Yeah. Winter, I was shoveling snow. Yeah.
I was always, when LimeWire came out, I was doing CDs too.
Oh my God.
So like I would basically take your request and what songs do you guys want?
Yeah.
Right. And then just go home, over the weekend, just burn CDs. Like back when you had like the tower and you have the 2 discs. Yeah. Right. So I put one in, burn it, the other one burn, and just go on LimeWire and bear share until my computer crashed of viruses.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
So yeah, I was always into something, man.
Yeah.
I was in a business and just, man, how to flip a dollar, man.
Yeah. I was gonna ask why you weren't shoveling snow, but
there was no snow.
Not really snow in California.
Yeah, there was no snow. I mean,
that's funny. Did you ever have snow growing up? Were
there was twice in my life.
Twice
in my life
that's
where
crazy.
There was snow, and we were like,
we
were just trying to play in there, taking as much pictures as we could about it. It was pretty dope, man. It was pretty dope. So there was a couple times, but in the desert, you rarely get snow.
Oh yeah.
Rarely gets snow.
I mean, it doesn't even really rain out there much either, too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. But.
That's cool. So this was what, around high school, sophomore high school, you were saying business? Okay. And then when you were getting ready to go to college, like, was that like your goal? Was business was going to be your major?
Yeah, so my goal was to be, major in business, and I basically told myself, look, I do not want to be in California anymore. Like AV, Lancaster, like. I love it. I'm saying that's where I was born and raised, but I wanted to get as far away as I could. So I basically applied to every East Coast school I could. Wow. And the first one I got accepted to was Howard, and it was.
Remind me, where's that?
Howard is in DC.
Okay.
So it's like a historically black college and stuff like that. So I was like, it was a new experience. I was like, why not? Let's do it. And I got accepted, but when like the amount of tuition that came in, it was like, look, $30,000 for your tuition, not including like housing, out-of-state fees. I had no idea what out-of-state fees were. Yeah. And like all these things, and then like my family couldn't really co-sign for me for like student loans and stuff. Right. So I just thought, let me get a job. Let me defer my acceptance for 6 months, and let me get a job, and I'm gonna save up $30,000.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why I thought that was gonna be.
I didn't really realize how much $30,000 is.
I was like, let me save up, and then at the same time though, what came out of that was. My stepmom at the time was a real estate agent.
Okay.
And I was a senior. I was like, I can't sell candy anymore because there's like vending machines happening and like, so I was like, what am I going to do? And she's like, why don't you teach people how to use Facebook? You're always on there. And it was like a brand new thing. And I'm like, fuck it. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Let me try it out. And I like read all these e-courses, books and stuff like that. And she got me into the Century 21 out there. Yeah. And they were like, how much do you charge for social media? And I'm like, I don't know, $35 a month.
Oh my God.
I was like 17, dude. And they were like, sure. And so like while I was working at Panda Express, I was interning and literally trying every single thing I was doing everything for them just to like have like case studies and stuff. And it was working at me, and they didn't really know. They were just like, do your thing, and that's how I did it. And then after that, another brokerage, Keller Williams, like saw what they were doing. They're like, hey, we want you full time doing that social media that you're doing there for us. So they recruited me, and that's how I got it. And then obviously I didn't save up the $30,000 at that point. But at that point, I got recruited from the KW office to come work there full time. I did that, and then they sent me out to trainings and like sent me out to Texas and Florida, like learn from the top dogs, and then bring all that stuff back. And that's how I kind of got into the social media realm with that. And
how old were you at this time?
And I was like 18, turning 19. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're still young.
Yeah, working there. And I just started learning off of those agents there that, of how to really run and grind and just, those business principles that, being a real estate agent, you got to door knock, you got to cold call, you got like the top agents work the hardest. And, and the success it wasn't by accident. Like I remember with this one agent, I was like designing this postcard for her, and I was like, do you want me to print 100? She's like, no, I'm going to get read that in 2 days. Wow. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, I door knock 50 doors a day.
Holy cow.
And I was like,
that's a lot.
In her heels.
That's crazy.
And she like had like a daughter. And she was like a single mom. And I was like,
that's nuts.
I told myself right then and there, like, you now have no excuses.
Oh yeah.
Because of that. So just that hustle, and then I took that hustle from these people, and I would just try to, and like my first mentor says, you are the product of your 5 closest friends.
Oh yeah.
So I looked at my friends, and they were all smoking, just not doing productive things in life. So I literally cut them off, and I would try to have lunch with every single top agent there as I could. Yeah. And I just took those principles, and I just started using them in digital faces, man. So
wow.
Yeah, man, that's
crazy.
That's kind of how it kind of evolved and grew. And then at a certain point, I just started growing my side business. And once it grew and I was making the same amount as my income, I said, thank you, and got Digital Face and then moved to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long did you do the realty thing?
For about 2.5 years.
Okay.
For about 2.5 years. Yeah. And
pretty much the whole time you were doing that stuff on the side?
No.
Okay.
I was probably like a year and a half just doing that.
Yeah.
Just doing the realty thing, working for them and creating curriculums and teaching classes.
And as you learned,
you
started doing stuff on the side.
You know what it was? It was this guy that came in to teach a class on social media.
Oh, it was like to Keller Williams.
Yeah, to like the agents.
Gotcha.
And all the stuff it was like so rudimentary.
Yeah.
Like, hey, post 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'll offer you a service to where I'll post for you. And he basically, and then like half the like class signed up.
Wow.
And I was looking at that, I was like, wow. And what he was doing he was posting the same thing to all the accounts.
So like every realtor was getting the same
thing posted. Not even an ad, just
day,
post.
Same thing.
And I was like, if this guy's making that much money, right? And I just found out that much money doing that little work.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I could do a much better job.
Right.
And have something custom and something that I was like, I could do. I just saw a space, I could do better than this. Yeah. And the fact that people don't know how social media worked, especially back then, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, dude, it was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, now people still even know, but back then especially.
Oh yeah, it was like everyone almost.
Exactly. So they were like, well, I don't know. I think they thought that this was what it was,
right.
And I was like, no, man. Like I saw a gap and I wanted to do better. Right. I wanted to show them that you can have a real ROI with this.
Right.
And that's when I started jumping in. I took one agent, not in that office because I didn't want there to be a conflict.
Yeah.
But I did a website for someone, and they saw it on my Facebook, and they're like, "Hey, you know what?" And it was an agent in Tehachapi, like it was like all the way up north.
I don't even know where that is.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Right. It's a little bit more up north, and she was like, you know what? I saw what you're doing. She just took a chance on me, right?
Yeah.
She took a chance, and she just followed at my whole lead, and she was my first client, and I ended up working with her for like 2 years.
Wow.
Right, just doing all her marketing,
cool.
do all these things like that, and then built on top of that. So basically, I hired a coach because I was like, man, I really want to take this to the next level.
Yeah.
I hired a coach, and that coach had me, like on my lunch break, I would go to Chamber of Commerce events.
Okay.
And then come right back and eat on my way back. Like I would eat my lunch or whatever on the way back. And then at night, I would do the websites, do my social media. And then I would wake up at 5 to answer any emails or calls and then go to work. And then, so I would do that for like 6 months until like things balanced out. But yeah, it was like, it was at lunch, either answering calls or going to networking events and just shooting right back as much as I could. And then I haven't said this, but like, since I was a techie guy there, like the way you would clock in was like through a website. So I'd have the website saved on my phone. So as I was driving back, I'd clock in and then like just walk in. But it was the hustle, man. It was the grind. And once my income balanced out, I was kind of nervous. And my coach was like, "Look, you either do this or I'm firing you."
Wow.
So it was like that moment. I was like, "All right, cool." So I just jumped.
Damn. And so when you were doing both, like, were you working pretty much 7 days a week?
Pretty much. I mean, I would probably like crash one of those days because like, dude, I was not sleeping a lot, man. I was probably
just
sleeping
5-6 days. You're just going nonstop.
Going nonstop, man. And then I would just probably take one day just to. I would literally like sleep.
Yeah, just
the
sleep
whole
all day,
man,
and then just recharge for the rest of the day.
And then recharge and do the whole thing over again. And
That's
so
crazy.
like I mean, I would work on weekends. Or talk to clients or strategize. I'd meet with my coach. And like one day out of the week at lunch break, I would meet with my coach. And my coach would actually make me lunch too because she knew like I didn't have time.
Yeah, you didn't have time.
Yeah, so it was a cool
What's
experience.
your coach's name?
Her name is Tammy. I mean, so yeah.
Tammy, shout out to
Yeah, Tammy Burnell. Yeah. Her turning passions into profits. That was her name.
Oh, cool.
So Tammy Brunell, shout outs to her,
That's
man.
awesome.
She really took a chance, and yeah, I was just like, man, I really want to do this. So.
And so, what do you think was the hardest part transitioning to like your own thing, and then maybe like the more easier?
Yeah, I would say the hardest part was, I mean, there's different parts.
Yeah.
Believing in myself.
Yeah.
You know, that like, cause like you're like.
Just the mental.
Yeah, cause you're like, what if this was just a good month?
Right.
You know, what if this was just a good couple months?
Yeah.
Right.
Because that does happen.
Yeah, and it was just like, how am I gonna like support myself?
Right.
And then when I put in my letter resume, what's it called, of resignation?
Yeah, resignation. Yeah.
The hardest part was my coworkers were like, "Are you sure you want to do this? You know, you don't have a college degree.
Yeah.
This is as good as you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know, are you sure you want to leave? Like,
Right.
you know, you never know what's out there.
It's a big decision.
Yeah, it's a big decision, and you know, you could feel like they were worried for me. You know, and I was just second guessing myself. Like, holy shit, maybe I don't got this. Maybe I do. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck, I don't know. Like, you know, and I was like, bro, you know, what if they are right?
Gonna do?
And you know what? Honestly, the hardest part is the embarrassment. Like,
really,
what if I did this and it doesn't work? And like my family too was even like, why are you gonna quit your job?
right.
Blah blah.
You
And
got a steady pay. And
you got a steady
that.
pay,
Yeah.
and it was just like, honestly, it was kind of the embarrassment of like, if this doesn't work, everyone told me.
Yeah.
I told you so. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you this one thing that kind of helped me, and I still use this decision to this day. There were some people there that I've seen there for like 10 years, 15 years.
At Keller Williams.
You know, at any job, right? Any office or whatever, and I could just see like the emptiness inside. Like they were just
doing the motions.
Going the motions, and I told myself, look, like 5-10 years from now, would you be like, if the worst case happens on both ends, like if you did this and you failed, or you stayed and you just stayed where you were, you know,
you're gonna be happy.
You know, what would happen? I told myself, you know what, if I don't do this and I stay here, it's gonna eat me inside alive that I never even tried.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it, fall on my face and fail, but
Right.
internally, like I know at least I tried and at least I did it, because it was gonna be, dude, like I was like, you know what? If I don't do this, I know it's gonna eat me up inside. Just the fact that I never
even tried.
Exactly. It's like a girl. I'm gonna tell you an example. Like when you're out at a bar or club, and you see this really pretty girl, and you don't talk to her, it eats that side of you inside at night.
Just
you're like,
you didn't even try.
Exactly. And even if she said no, at least I tried.
At least you put it. Yeah.
You know. And I kind of looked at this as the same way. I was like, you know what, man, Shannon, if you do this and you do fail, at least you tried.
Yeah.
At least you tried, and that's what kind of helped me, because
then you know.
Exactly, because what does Thoreau say? Like, most men live lives of quiet desperation. I think it was Thoreau, right? So he says that most men live lives of quiet desperation. I mean, they're going through the motions, but inside they're desperately like, you know, they're desperate inside. And so I'd rather me go out and try it, and if it fails, I at least say, hey, I did it.
Right.
And you know, because like when you're on your deathbed, what is it gonna be? Are you gonna regret the things that you did do or you didn't do?
Right.
So
exactly.
I think that was the easiest thing for me is to say, you know what, Shannon, let me do this and let me see what happens. And obviously,
I tried.
Yeah, but that first day on your own, you're like, damn.
Like, did you wake up and you're like, what do I do?
Exactly. It's like kind of like, what do I do today? Like, you know, I'm usually having an agenda, what to do,
Right.
I was like, holy.
And it was all on you.
Exactly. But then I went back to those agents that I talked to, and what they would say, like they would prospect, they would door knock, they would go out and get business, man. So I was
Did
like,
you use some of those techniques?
oh,
and
100%, man, 100%. Like they said, some successful real estate agents, they would cold call every day, or they would door knock, you know, 3 times a week. No matter what, they always lead generated. And I'm like, okay, cool. What are my 2 to 3, you know, pillars of I'm a marketing company.
Right.
If I can't market myself, there's an issue.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
like the kind of the saying of like eating your own dog food.
Exactly.
Or like,
eat your own dog food.
Practice what you preach.
100%. And so after that, I was like, okay, I Googled networking events. I cold called the yellow pages, you know, for like a minute, and I just put it out there on social media. This is what I do, and then just slowly but surely it started building up. And then I was like, and then I made the decision to move to LA. Because I was like, I want bigger fish. I want bigger things, bigger opportunities. So that was
not too much up in Antelope Valley.
Yeah, I mean, there's opportunity there, and I love it. Much respect to the AV, but I mean, for what I wanted to do,
right. This is the spot.
LA was the spot, man. So.
And so, how long has it been now? Pretty much like officially on your own.
Probably like 2.5, 3 years, probably.
And did you technically start Digital Faces like while you were still at your full-time job, or?
Yeah, I mean, like I built clients, but like I didn't build a brand or anything like that. Like I started the brand like once I quit and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
And did you move to LA like right when you started?
I would say like 3 to 6 months after.
Oh, okay, so pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you started it, and then you're like, all right, get out of here.
Let me go. Yeah. So I basically, I was gonna roommate with someone, and I was hitting him up, and we literally, it was crazy. We found a place, and we literally got the leases, and I signed my lease, and I called the guy and said, hey, dude, did you sign your part? And he's like, oh, I can't do it anymore. And I just told my place in Antelope Valley that, hey, I'm moving out. So.
Oh my God.
I was telling my grandma about it, and she's like, why don't you just stay here? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, because you got that pride, like, I don't want to live with my grandma. Right, I don't want to do that. Same way. Yeah. And she's like, no, just come on stage. She has a 6-bedroom house in Highland Park, and it was just her and her brother. And she's like, look, you can stay here, build yourself up.
But you had just signed the lease?
No, I literally signed it, and I called the guy I was gonna do it. So I didn't turn it in. So I was like, thank God I didn't do it.
Wow.
It would have been such a horrible thing. But
so then what? You found a new roommate, and then?
No. So I couldn't find a new roommate at all. So I ended up shagging at my grandma's house, man. And
how long were you there?
I was there for about like a year and a half.
Oh wow.
A year and a half, because I was like, I went there, and just to save money.
Yeah.
I saw what I did was
save up that $30,000, right?
Exactly. So I stayed there, and then I basically started going on Craigslist and looking up whoever needed social media marketing services.
Oh, okay.
And I met like artists, voiceover talents. Like that's how I started growing. Like just looking up like people on Craigslist, like they have the gigs. And I would just go there and just respond like, hey, I'll do this. And it just building, because I knew no one out here. I had no one. So I just started building my portfolio that way. And then going to networking events, and then just growing my business that way, and that's how things started, man. Damn. So, that was
that's cool.
The hustle, man.
And so like right now, what's like a typical day for you?
Good question. Depends if I have a meeting or not. So. I would say typical day is, I wake up at 5:30 if I can, go to the gym, go to the boxing gym. I go to boxing gym, NGBA boxing.
Do you do that every day?
I try to do like 3-4 times a week. I've been lagging it the last couple weeks, I'm not going to lie. I've been lagging it.
That happens.
Yeah, but usually, wake up at 5:30, go to the gym, come back, and then I look at my calendar. I usually have at least one meeting set for the day. So what I'll do is I'll hop on my computer, answer any emails, check all my ads. See, I'm running like a ton of Facebook ads, so or any kind of ads. So I'll look at my ads, see how the cost per leads going. Seeing the impressions, seeing what's going on there. Respond to my respond to all my emails. Post something on social media if I can. Then go to my meeting. Come back, and I have an account manager now. Okay. So I'll go review with her everything that's going on for that day. If we have a shoot going on that day, or scheduling shoots with our videographer or our videography team, whoever we subcontract out. And then after that, just handling day-to-day things. Handling day-to-day things. And if I have a meeting or if I have a chamber event to go to, want to create content. So it just kind of varies, but that's pretty much a typical day for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do you find the boxing is almost, and I ask this because it kind of is for me, like physical fitness and like working out, like, do you find it's like therapeutic and like it's almost like essential?
What's funny? When I wake up, I kind of have like this, not pessimistic view, but I'm like, like.
Oh, of course. Like, I don't want to get up.
Yeah, I kind of want to know. I don't want to get up.
I think that's just realistic. That's
to be honest with you, like I've been working on my mindset. Like I have like all the worries of the day and like, like, oh man, like this and that. But when I go to the gym and I work out, like, and especially with boxing, like I just let out all that. Like, I look at the punching bag as my my insecurities, my doubts, my worries, and I'm just punching it like no. And I feel a complete difference when I walk out.
Yeah.
Like I can do this. I just beat up my doubts. All those no's, I just handled that in the ring or on the bag.
Yeah.
I come back feeling like a warrior, like a champ. Like, all right, we're ready to do this, you know. And I feel like, hey, you know what? It's already 7, 8 o'clock. I've already worked out, meditated. I do my affirmations like before I even walked out. So
I think that like makes a huge difference on the day. I would say like 2 years ago I didn't work out like at all. Maybe 3. 2 years ago I moved into a building that had a gym like down the hall. So I was like, all right, I should probably start using it.
Yeah.
And it took me like a few months to like actually get into the routine. But I mean, it was like a big difference.
Yeah.
Like I had never worked out when I was growing up. Like I was always skateboarding, so I had fitness and I was active, so it wasn't a big deal. But you know, as I started working for myself and like, you know, becoming like very busy, like I just didn't work out. And so I'd get up at whatever, eat whatever, and sit at my desk most of the day. Or if I was out, like, you know, and in between, like if we're shooting a few things, like we stop at like somewhere quick to get food. So it's not like we're eating healthy.
Yeah.
And so I remember like when I first started working out like regularly, like it like really made a difference because I would notice if I didn't work out for like 3 days,
like if you could feel that
straight,
day.
I'm like, damn, I'm in a bad mood. Like I'm feeling like crappy. Like it's a big difference. And then I work out the next day and I feel like $1 million. And like I would like try to go at the end of the day, but the morning was just like
it's a different vibe, man. It's a different vibe, and
like, it just prepares you for the day so much, and like you just like, you know, like you said, kind of punching out the things. Like I don't go boxing or anything, but like if I'm running on the treadmill or like lifting some weights, like it just like, I don't know.
You're letting go of that stress.
Exactly.
You know, you're letting like physically you're letting go of that stress. And as entrepreneurs, we're bottling up so much.
Oh yeah.
That
like, there's so much pressure on your shoulders. And I think like a lot of people don't see it. But there's like so many things. I mean, like you said, like, oh, am I just having a good month? Am I having a good few months?
Yeah.
Like you might be in like a month or two where like you have really low work. Like that's stressful.
Yeah.
Like not knowing like, am I going to make rent?
And you know what happens?
Pay my electric bill.
Is like when a negative day happens, then you skip a day at the gym, then you feel bad about that.
Right.
And then guess what? Then you just, it's a snowball effect. It just goes down and down and down. And then you're like, well, I missed 3 days. Am I going to go today?
Right. And then it gets more regular.
Exactly. So that's how you kind of get in that downward slope. But like, you know, and I would tell anyone out there that has their own thing is keep doing that, you know, keep that routine going, because that's what's going to keep fueling you.
Yeah.
And just getting those endorphins out, you know, you're just going to feel like a better overall, you know what I'm saying? Your vibe is just going to change, you know? And two, you see other people working on the gym, you're like, man, this guy's fucking going. Exactly. This guy's just going, he's hustling, you know, he's physically hustling, and you're like, fuck, dude, like, you know what? Yes, like, that's why I love boxing, because, you know, I have a coach telling me that, again, you know what I'm saying? Like, go hard the last 30 seconds. I have other people next to me. Exactly. I got girls next to me working hard. You know? I'm like, oh, man, I gotta do this, man. So I would say, the working out is really good, man. It really makes a big difference.
And how long have you been doing that?
For about a year now. About a year. Yeah. And you feel it, too, the next day. So,
so I'm curious, from working, you know, like a full-time job and perspective of now, like working for yourself full-time, like what was one challenge that you had then that maybe now you're like, oh, that wasn't a big deal? And what's a challenge, like what's maybe a big challenge now? Like not an everyday challenge, but something that, like, you know, constantly is like something you maybe struggle with.
Yeah, no, good question, man. A big challenge that I had, like having a full-time job and then coming out that I don't have anymore, which when something bad happens, having myself to come up with ideas on how to solve it. Like before, when having a full-time job, when something goes wrong, you have a boss to go to and say, hey, this is a challenge, what do I do about it?
Yeah.
And mitigating, like, to a client, like, hey, working out anything that goes wrong, right? Like before, I was used to, something goes wrong, let me ask my boss, how do I fix it, or how do I deal with it, or how do I talk to, or them talking to whoever that person was, or the client.
Or even the point of just having some issue and all you have to do is tell someone, and then it's out of your hands almost.
Yeah, tell someone and they'll say, hey, this is what to do.
Yeah.
or they'll handle it for them.
Right.
And when something went wrong, I'll be honest, like when there was bad news, right? Whether it was my fault or not, right?
Yeah.
When there was bad news, I would not communicate that with the client right away. Like I'd hold it in because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I did not know what to do. Like
when you were working full time for.
Well, no, I'm saying like
now.
Like when I was transitioning to my own boss, like to my own like business.
Yeah.
When something wrong happened, I didn't know how to handle it
right away.
Because I was like, well, I can't go to anyone. It's just me.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't respond to that email right away. I wouldn't, and it'd be like a day or two.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me because I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And just getting used, and now I'm used to always solving the problems. Like I'm used to like when something goes, and you know what's funny? 9 times out of 10, if you communicate with the client, like, hey, this is what went wrong. You know, let's say like with honestly like typos, right?
Yeah.
That was like kind of a thing for me. Like with ad strategy, I was always good with ad strategy. But like there was a typo in an ad, and like hey, they'd be like, hey, there was a typo here, Shannon. What's going on? And I wouldn't respond right away because I was like, what do I tell them? Do I really tell them, hey, I just messed up?
Yeah.
But now, what I figure out with the clients, they just want communication, the fact that you're on it.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry, no problem. Boom, I just fixed it right now. Here's a screenshot of it. Won't happen again. Boom. And they're happy about you just being on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just realized that. And
communication is so important.
There it is. I didn't know how big communication was. I did not know. Like, it's sometimes not about what happened. It's about your reaction, how you communicate with the client.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a clients-based business, and I was just like, man, and I'm still always working on it, make sure I'm happy, but like having like good communication and being with people right away. Or because you turn it off, right? You're like you know when you go to work, okay, you're done. Oh, I got 10 emails, but I'm gonna clock out right now. I'll respond to them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, like that habit of, hey, it's 10 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. I have 10 emails. I'll respond to them tomorrow. You know. And as a business owner, I had to get used to you got to respond right, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
And be communicative because that's one of your, one of the value propositions that you have to have as a client. So that was a big thing for me, man, is communication. And what was the other question? Oh yeah, the challenge I have now. I would say the challenge I'm having now is building a team. I think that's one of the things.
Oh yeah, because we actually didn't hit on that. So how many employees do you have, or like what is your team like? It's not just you.
No, yeah. So I have about 5 people on the team, and it's just, honestly building a team, because I would say it was like me and a couple independent contractors, but letting them know what's going on and communicating the vision to them. Yeah. And then figuring out how to work that. Like finding good people. Yeah. It was something in my business when I thought about growing this big company. I didn't think that I would have a problem of a team. I didn't really have that in my visions and in my my scope. So, I think that's a big challenge for me is how do I grow a team? How do I communicate them what the vision is? And it's not just like, for me, now that I'm used to handling all the issues, I used to expect them like, okay, I learned this. So I'm like, okay, hey, do this, do that, and boom, you're good. They're like, okay, well, how to do it? How do I do it? And
they're learning too.
And then they're coming to me for approval for everything, and it's like, I'm not used to it. I'm like, just go, just do it, So building a team and finding that right balance, because you just assume like, hey, this is the work, just do it. Yeah. But they don't know what your expectations are. They don't know, what your vision is. And you think, since you're always talking in your head, you're like, it's common knowledge, but what's common knowledge to you isn't common knowledge to someone else. Yeah. And just dealing with that aspect of it. It's I would say for me, it's one of the challenging parts of growing agencies is or any business is
a team.
Yeah, a team, building a team for me. I'm not gonna lie.
And what do you think the biggest, talk about like when you were hiring your first employee, because when you get to that point, obviously, like, we've talked about on other episodes, one of our previous episodes, like 2 or 3 ago, guy has like 15 employees, and it's a big company, and they have 15 full-time people. So like you get to that point where like you're responsible for people's paychecks, and like they're relying on you. Like, talk about getting your first employee and stuff like that.
I would say I got my first employee last year. It was like last October, November, and we were cranking, man. We were cranking so busy. Hard. We were busy, and when I got them, I thought, okay, it's gonna be a week or 2 of training, good. And it wasn't just a week or two. It was a lot longer. Even to this day, I was still training. And then I getting used to paying someone every 2 weeks. No matter what. Right. It was a big shock. And then right in November, we slowed down in December to February.
That's tough.
And then I was like, I still have to pay her.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, dude, that was rough. For me, that was rough. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, man, because you just assume you're always gonna be. And I thought I was gonna have little dips here, but like for some reason, we were like really slow. People were just didn't want to market. They didn't want to do some of our recurrent clients. They like kind of put a hold. Some clients even started doing our strategies on their own. Like we found out like all our ad strategies, they said, okay, we're not gonna have your services anymore. They basically fired us. But then we start seeing them duplicating our stuff. And it was like wow. And then on top of that, there were a couple of days where like she's like, okay, what do I do next? And I'm like, I don't know, right? I don't know.
I'll go home.
Go home or something. And I still gotta pay her, right? Or pay this person. And it was really rough, man. It was really rough, and I mean, luckily we had reserves and savings and stuff. But it was. I did not anticipate that. It was a really rough time, and finally we got back up. But the one thing that I didn't anticipate is having someone that's really dedicated to having this work and having another perspective really helped out. I think that's having an employee. I didn't think that I didn't expect that to be a benefit, but just being able to bounce off ideas off someone and someone that just really cares for the company. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hey, here's another perspective. Even with pricing, remember I talked about price. It's like I was underpricing my services, but because it was just me.
Right.
I didn't care. I didn't really like feel it. I didn't feel it because I'm like, look, I get 10 clients. At this rate, I'm good, and bringing on an employee, it's a whole different story. But then calling other companies that do what we do, and they're charging almost triple what we're doing. And for like half the work that we're doing. And it was just like, what? Like, it almost made me throw up. I was like, bro, are you serious? Like, I'm charging this much? And she was the one that told me that. She was like, you're undercharging your services. And I'm like, whoa, like, because honestly, sometimes you're like, is this employee really worth it? Like, are they pulling their weight? Like, is this? You start having those doubts, but just those little tidbits, it will really help out. So, man, it's still a journey. I'm not gonna lie, it's still a learning curve, and there's no like rule book and hey, this is how you do it. But it's. Was
it a lot easier going from the first to the second employee, like having one and then just adding another?
Yeah, because why? I think
getting the hang of it.
Yeah, you're getting the hang of it. I'm still getting the hang of it now. Because there's some, because with the California laws as far as like what an independent contractor is and what a W-2 employee is, we've now have to transition some of those people into like employee roles. Gotcha. Because I just had a lot of people that just work per project, so transitioning that over, it was easier because now we're starting to build a company culture. Cool. And so like now my first employee is saying, hey, look, this person's really good. We should really get them on board. Or even some people that I'm like, you know what, I'm really mad at. She's like, you should look at it from this perspective. And it really helps out. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's really easier because, and then they start developing relationships and then so it's like you're starting to see this culture come about.
That's really, that must be like exciting to like watch.
It is. And then like in the fact that like, they wouldn't be here if you didn't have this vision. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
like you must like, not to like be cocky, but like you must like get that little like sense of pride. Like, I did this. Like you have to feel proud about it. Like,
it is.
Every once in a while, like, I do it too. Like sometimes I'm like, you know what? Like things are going well. I'm feeling happy, like feeling proud. Like you gotta like seeing something. And
even when you're down and out, like, they see it too, and like now you're hustling for them.
Yeah, not just for yourself anymore.
Yeah, man. So that's another thing. It lights a different kind of fire in you. It really lights a different kind of fire in you. Like we gotta hustle because I gotta cover this payroll, man. Payroll, man. Oh my God. And then when Uncle Sam, we pay Uncle Sam. So I was like, what? We gotta pay you guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not only do you gotta pay payroll, but you got payroll tax, and you got all.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we actually just recently, like towards the beginning of this year, started payroll, and we're like, damn, we got to pay someone to pay ourselves.
Exactly.
We got to pay to pay ourselves.
I was like, what? I was like, man. It was just like,
funny.
And you're looking, you're like,
all the things that like people don't think about.
Yeah,
like,
man, like
as people are self-employed, like
payroll tax. You know, there's certain laws you got to abide by, employee handbooks.
Yeah.
Having some stuff, and then dealing with their issues and what they're dealing with and what their moods are. They're you know what I mean? And
because it's not just about you anymore. You got people under.
Exactly. So it's a transition, man. And I'm still learning. I'm not the master at it. I'm still learning, but.
I know, because you're how old now?
I'm 26.
You're still really young.
Yeah, man. 26, and I was just like, man, this got to work, man. This has really got to work.
You got a busy life for 26.
Yeah, well, because I told myself, like, I would say when I was a solopreneur, and one of my mentors was like, dude, you're gonna either make the jump or not. You know what I mean? Like
you're gonna do it or not.
Yeah, you're gonna do it or not. Like, it's basically, are you gonna invest in yourself? Are you gonna invest in yourself? Do you believe in yourself?
Yeah.
And taking that jump, like if you're a solopreneur after like a year or two, it's kind of like, all right, dude, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
At least in my perspective, and that's where I was. I was at the 1.5 year mark, and I'm like, look,
still just you.
It was just, it was me, and like, okay, I would have subcontractors. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, okay, am I gonna have a company now?
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think that's like the way to look at it. Almost, you're like, you go from like you actually. I think you're like a company once you like. Yeah. I don't know, like it's a mindset thing. I think like
definitely is.
As yourself, you're like, yeah, like I do marketing, and then but like if you have like 1 or 2 employees, then you're like, I own a marketing company.
Exactly.
Like it's a weird, I feel like, switch, but like I get it.
No, it's definitely like a major shift, and so and to be honest with you too, I even had problems communicating with my employees because I was used to talking to the clients. I was used to doing everything, so I wouldn't communicate with them some things. They're like, well, we don't know what's going on. And I'm like, oh, damn. So after I call my client, I got to call them to update them what I just talked about.
Right.
And then, you know what I'm saying?
Because then you don't want your employees to be in the dark.
Exactly.
When the client goes, oh, yeah, so like we're actually moving to this way, and your employee's like, no, we're not.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't know. Yeah. And so it was like that whole communication. And then, two, it's like the training took much longer because now you have to educate them on what to do. Mm-hmm. Then you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Or then you delegate it, and then you have to watch what their work, see if they did it right, and then correct that. So it's basically like you're doing it 3 times over.
Yeah.
When you could have just done it yourself. And there's like this urge sometimes, I'm like, let me just do it myself.
Right, but you can't.
And I just can't. Like, you gotta like let it go.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been learning, and it's rough. And you know, I'm still learning. Or like when you have a bad day, they're like, oh, everything's good. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And they can see in your face.
Yeah.
They can see in your face. And yeah, man, it's
you're learning a lot.
It was, yeah, man, it's tough, and it's still learning it. But I think that was the toughest thing is having an employee and just, you know, like always paying that payroll.
Right. Talk a little bit about like office. Do you have like a permanent office? I know we talked. Like,
yeah, of course.
Couple, like,
so I had like a co-working space, and I have an office with a buddy of mine now that we share.
Yeah.
So that's where we pretty much station. And I had a co-working space in downtown LA. It just, you know, I was there, but because I thought clients were going to come in, but now, to be honest with you, no one ever asked to be in my office.
Right.
Ever. Like I never.
Sometimes it's like almost just like a mental thing.
I would say like, yeah, I would say after like all this time, one client has asked to come to our office. One ever. And they would even.
Some clients care. Like some are like old school and they like want you to have an office even though like you're doing the same work no matter what.
And there have been clients that are here we've never met.
Really?
And they're probably like a 30-minute drive away, but we just have never met them.
That's interesting.
They don't care. They came from a referral.
Yeah.
We talked over the phone. We sent them over the proposal. We have conferences, Skypes, whatever. And especially with the LA traffic, like, you know, people are like, you know what, let's just
do it over the phone.
Yeah, let's just do it virtual. And payments online, results are online, everything's online. So we have no problem with that. And yeah, I mean, but honestly, we're transitioning into more corporate accounts. So, you know, you could, you know, talk to me in 6 months, a year, and that might change.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to realize is, okay, going from small, mid-sized businesses to these more corporate accounts, you know, it's a different ballgame. So we'll see. We'll see what they need. But I mean, get the job done as long as you get the job done, people, can care less. So I would say but there's so many little different co-working spaces.
Oh yeah, there's like hundreds here in LA.
Yeah, so you can rent one for the day, and then hey, meet someone there. Like, hey, this is my office.
Shout out to
Beach House.
Beach House co-working.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving us a spot for the day to do
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and it's different than working from home, right?
It is.
I would say like working from home, you could do it, but for me, like, if I do, then I'm gonna get something to eat more often.
Right.
Let me lay down and work. Let me take a nap, and
Or like you kick back, like, let me watch some TV for a little bit.
Exactly.
Maybe. Yeah.
So I would say like having an office space does help. You know what I'm saying? Seeing other hustlers, other people working on the grind, it really does put you in a different mindset. And so I would definitely highly recommend something like that.
Mindset, I think, is the word for it. We've done the office debate a few times on the podcast,
and what is your take on it?
I'm a little bit in the middle, but I'm definitely more towards like an actual office. I worked from home for 2.5 years before we got an office, and I adjusted. So I think by the time we switched to like having an office, and people are like, "Oh, you can't work from home. I'm like, "No, you can. Like, it's an adjustment, but you can." Like, I think the first like year of working from home, probably worked way longer days than I needed to because I was, like we just said, taking breaks, going, let me go get a 2-hour lunch, let me go hang out with some friends while I'm, in the middle of the day, and then I would just work till like 10 p.m. or 1 a.m. And then I'm like burnt out by the end of the day, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And so when you're actually like going somewhere, you're like, all right, I don't want to be here forever. Like,
let me think of what I gotta do.
Let me make sure, like I love my work. I love what I do. I will like stay at the office all day, but like I have a girlfriend, I got friends, I have a life outside of work, and so I want to get what I need to get done in a productive fashion and try to be efficient, and then get home and have a beer and eat some food.
And that's the thing too. Like once I had a working space, home became home again.
Yeah.
Like
that's funny. That's a funny way to say it.
Before, like home wasn't home. It was like it was my workspace, and I started resenting my room. Like any day outside of my house was a good day because I was like, wow, I'm finally
I'm outside these four walls.
Exactly, and like you start having cabin fever,
because you really like, I mean, you wake up and then like my old apartment, my like my bedroom's here and like my office is like in the living room, but like you wake up and shower, have your coffee, but then you go to your desk and then you maybe grab something to eat in the kitchen and then you come back to your desk and then maybe watch TV before you go to bed and then you go to bed and you don't leave the four walls. Like,
yeah. So when I got an office, like now, like okay, I'm gonna go home now. Like oh, nice. Home started to feel like home again, and there's a place for it though. There's definitely a place for work. I still work at home sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Occasionally,
but it's not like all the time.
Right.
You need to have that space to just work. I mean, we're physical creatures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to have that spot to where you work and the spot to where you go home. Because my home was my gym, my workspace. You know what I'm saying? My
your bed.
Exactly, everything. And it was just like I was starting to resent my house. And, so I'm glad I got it. And I'm glad my buddy let me give me an opening in one of his offices.
Yeah.
So,
But the mindset thing was funny because one of the guests we had, he has like a room dedicated for their office, but he has a different scenario. He has he's married, he has 3 kids. So, I would say like if I was at that stage, I would try to make the home office more of a thing, but I don't really have that kind of responsibility. That's a good word for it. And
that's a big thing too, commitment, responsibility, man.
But like his thing was, he said, I think this is an awesome space, and I think it's a mindset thing. Like, when you come here, like you guys know, like as soon as you walk in the door, you're like, all right, we're here to work. Like let's get shit done. Like let's hustle, and then we'll go home. And he even said, he's like, it's always a challenge. He's like, especially having 3 kids. Like he's like, they don't understand the phase that Dad's home. It doesn't matter if Dad's working. He's home. They don't know what I'm doing. So,
it's like you said. It's a mindset thing, man. And there's a reason why a lot of these big companies have, the spaces that they have and the way they look. You know what I'm saying? Because environment has a lot to do with things.
It really does.
So it's definitely a different space.
Yeah.
So.
Los Angeles is a huge city.
Oh yeah. For sure.
there's got to be hundreds of what you do, hundreds of marketing companies.
Yeah.
How do you, you're still young, so obviously you have plenty of time and you're still learning every day, but like, how do you kind of try to differentiate yourself from everyone else in such a big city and it's such a tough market? That's
a good question. Like you said, we're always learning that every day. I think one, doing good business, man, it's not as common as people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just doing what you say, saying what you do goes a long way out here. And just because there's so many, it's easy to do bad business and go on another side of town and no one knows you. Right.
That's true.
Even though like with social media now, things are getting more.
It's harder to hide.
It's harder to hide.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's rare that a client's just going to out you on social media. If they do, they'll just silence. They'll just be silent. But I would say doing good business, and for us, what we try to do is give value up front. Because 9 times out of 10, someone's been hit up by marketing companies. Someone's been called, emailed about marketing and social media. So for us, what we try to do is we say, hey, look, let's show you that we have some skin in the game as well.
Right.
Whether that be if we're in the new industry, hey, let's do a test run to show you how our ads work, and then you can sign on.
Yeah.
Or if it's, hey, you know what, we won't do a contract or whatever the case is. Let's bring that up front, and just delivering value. I would say networking is very key around here and building relationships. And what is like when I hear building relationships, like I hear that all the time. But it's like really generally getting to know that person, what their problem is, and how I can solve it. And being young, it actually kind of works in my field a little bit because it's a social media, like, oh, he's a millennial. Obviously he knows. Yeah, he knows what's going on. Even though I could say, look, just because you're a millennial doesn't mean you know how to sell on social media. But it kind of helps me on that end too.
Yeah.
And being likable, being like,
friendly,
hey,
personable.
Friendly, personable. And let me think, being in LA, obviously if being niche is really good too.
Yep.
Having like a niche market to say, hey, this is what I do and this is what I do great. I think that's what we're working on, is because before we were like
getting to that point.
Yeah, before we were an agency that did everything,
right.
and we didn't stand out, but like, hey, we do this specific kind of marketing, and we're being world class at one thing.
Yeah.
I'd say that's what we're working on to be, and I'm gonna tell you, like, I haven't mastered it, but being world class at one thing.
Working towards that.
Yeah, because even like there's other agencies that don't exactly do that one niche thing. They'll refer you sometimes.
Yeah.
Say, hey, dude, we don't do that. Could you do that for us?
Yeah.
We really specialize in service-based social media ads.
Right.
And so and even Spanish ads, like, people don't do Spanish ads. So it's like tapping into those markets.
That's good.
I would say, and kind of like looking at yourself and saying, okay, who are you and how are you? Like for me, I'm half, half black and half Hispanic. So like those two things, I can play off of them, and I know those demographics. So now I can start marketing, what I'm saying, using my own experiences to market there. Like when I started doing Spanish ads, like I was just like, I know the Latino community and I know what they like and don't like. And so like when I do ads, I know what to target.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like even
so you're understanding the end customer sometimes better than the company.
Exactly. So kind of taking huge. That and using that to my advantage.
Yeah.
Of me being a minority. And here in LA, everyone's kind of a minority at this point, but but everyone has their own little thing that they do. So I would say, honestly, taking who you are and using that as an advantage.
Yeah.
Right? So whoever you are, whatever you like to do, too, you know what I'm saying? Like taking that, and because people like to, now with social media, I see people like to do business with people that they like.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everyone has their different verticals, right? The different, things, even on Instagram, we're seeing Instagram accounts specifically dedicated to one thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's an Instagram account, a girl that she just specifically for females with curly hair. Right. That's and like, so it's like everyone's having their little niche in their little communities. Like, what's yours? Yeah. And how can you jump into that space and deliver value? And then also, too, hustling. Yeah. I would say there's so much opportunity here, but you have to go grab it. Yeah. You got to go and grab it. So as long as
it's not going to come to you.
Exactly. As long as you have that hustle mentality, you should be good. You should be good 100%, because as big as it might seem, talent's still hard to find. Yeah. Out here. So as long as you're a hustler, you're innovative, you're like, hey, I care.
Yeah.
I don't think about the money, and it's, even for me, it's hard because I have a play, but don't think about the money. Think about how can I deliver value,
and then the money will come.
And then the money will come. It's so cliche, but I can give you an example of a client that I did not think about the money at all. Right?
Yeah.
I was just like, look, I wanted to test out this kind of ad. I tested it out on them, and then in my head, I was like, I'd be cool with X amount.
Sure.
I didn't think, and then me thinking about the money, I would have been like, look, this is what we're charging, that's it. But I was like, let me try this thing and see what works out.
Right.
And at that point, they were like, okay, well, what should we do? I'm like, well, we have these different packages. What's your budget? And their budget was like double what we thought in my head. And I was like,
there you go.
Fuck. Like,
there you go.
If I would have like spit out the number that I thought, I would be
stuck at that.
I would be stuck at that.
And great. Sounds good.
The fact that they're like, no, this is worth more to us. This is how much we're going to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. And not thinking about, I didn't think about the money at that point. I just wanted to test this out. So yeah, now they're paying us double what we thought that they were going to pay. And just because of, again, just the passion that I wanted to just deliver value, it's going to come back. So
awesome.
yeah, or even clients that I thought they couldn't afford, afford our services. And turns out they could, and the people that, and again, if I was just thinking about the money, I wouldn't even take on that meeting because I'm like, oh, they can't even afford, so it's like things like that. It's
that's interesting.
how the cliche things happen in real life. I think that's how that works.
Awesome.
So
you have a workspace, you have a couple employees. What are maybe 3 or just a couple like digital tools that you think help you, like Slack or like other 100%. Tools like that?
Slack helps me out a lot. You know what I'm saying, with dealing with client communication. We have a project management software called Insightly.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yep.
Insightly, so it basically manages all our clients, all the tasks that we have to do for those clients, and then putting in notes as far as like, hey, this is just recording what's going on. Yeah. I now have a call recorder on my phone.
Really?
So it's just called Call Recorder on iPhone, and what it is I let the client know too, like anytime we're having a call with a new client, I'll record the call so my team can hear the ideas and what we were talking about, what the feedback we were bouncing off each other, just so that after we're recording our call, I just say, hey, listen to this recording, and then they can hear what the client wants, or sometimes they'll hear things that I didn't hear.
Right.
They're like, yeah, when you said that idea, they didn't really say too much, so I don't think we're gonna go with that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like they can hear our interactions and say, or like with social media design, like, hey, we want this feel, we want this design, and I might butcher me communicating with my team.
Right.
And so for them to actually hear what the client
exact word for word.
Exactly.
That can help.
Sometimes they listen better than I listen.
That's funny.
And just because I'm like, oh, we should do this and that, like, yeah, but we want this and that. And like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go with what they wanted.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I did not expect that.
That's interesting.
That's a tool that really, really helps me out. Let me see what else I have. Boomerang is a good one too.
Oh yeah, by Gmail.
Okay. Boomerang's a good one too, just to have on tap. Just to remind me like, hey, they told me this.
Yeah.
Boomerang that back. It's just simple things like that that just make the biggest difference.
Interesting.
Different schedulers. So there's like later.
Okay.
We have what's another one? Man,
I'm really picky with my calendar and my email app.
So what do you use?
I ended up using the default iOS calendar.
Oh, really?
I was like, trying to get all these fancy calendar apps. Like I had Google Calendar and that, and then I was like, why don't I just go back to the basics?
It's simple stuff,
really
man.
Simple, but like, I can put in my location. I can put in notes underneath it.
Yeah. I use
that helps me a lot.
So for me, I use Google Calendar.
Okay.
And because what I do is I allow my team to look at my calendar and schedule things on my calendar.
For you, gotcha.
So for example, if a client's like, hey, we want to do this shoot, and they want me to be there, they'll just boom, put it on my Google Calendar, and then it's there. Or if they can't answer my call, or if I can't answer their call, they'll look at my calendar like, oh, he's in a meeting right now.
Oh, okay,
got it,
cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so they already know,
they're
like,
waiting,
hey, this is my calendar, this is what's going on. Yeah, and it works out that way. And then Gmail we use. I mean, I'm a big Google.
Yeah.
I'm a huge big Google. So Google Calendar, Google Forms we use for intake processes. So having a Google form there, and everyone gets notified when a new client signs up. They'll sign up this Google form, and boom, that'll get inputted in.
We use like Google Docs a lot to like
100%.
Create. Like sometimes we even start like when we'll get like a project, or like we'll have our first call with a client about a project. We make all the notes in Google Docs so that we're both with it, and so like we'll listen. I can't type while I listen, So Mike takes the notes. I kind of listen and talk, and then after we can both look at the notes, make notes in there, and then if we have to make like a proposal or like a quote from that, we have all the notes right there, and we can both see it, and we'll just like take it from there.
That's what we do. That we use Google Calendar a lot. I mean Google Docs for a lot of our clients, like content calendars. So basically a lot of the stuff that we're gonna post and stuff like that, we'll send them Google Docs and say, hey, let us know what you think about this, and they can edit in real time. They can make notes in there. Oh, we don't like this, thing like that. So they'll make their edits as they want, and then they'll just tell us, hey, it's approved, and boom, we're off to the races. So I mean, it's honestly, for me, going to the basics is sometimes the easiest thing.
It's so funny, like I said with the calendar thing, and then same with email. Like I was like trying to get all these fancy email apps that did all these crazy different tools, and everything is categorized by color and categorized, like separate this and that, and I'm like, back to the basics. I use like some basic email app now.
Yeah, same here, man. I think for me the more complex we get, the harder it is. But I can tell you, we're planning to move to Salesforce pretty soon.
Really?
Not soon, but I would say in the next probably the fourth quarter. Okay. After we master Slack, I want to get everyone on Salesforce just because it's I've tested it out, man, and it's like
it's expensive.
It's like $25 a person, per person for like the smaller business thing, but it's definitely worth it if you can get your team on one accord, So that's definitely what I recommend for a lot of people, and we're still always learning too. So I might listen to some of your past podcasts and see what some ideas you got on that. But
Cool. Well, that's all I got. Do you got any last words? Any final thoughts?
Good question. What I've been working on a lot is we listen to a lot of these social media gurus and a lot of these things like that, and man, it's just going for it, doing it, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, listening to a lot of social media things and stuff like that, and for me, I've always been my best when I'm doing and when I'm consuming my own content.
Interesting.
So for example, like listening to a podcast, if I'm not listening to your podcast or someone else's, I'm creating a podcast, or if I'm not looking at someone else's content, I'm creating my own content.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I've always been at my best when I'm consuming and creating my own content. I would say that I think that's been a really big key for me, and just because I don't know, I just feel like we're consuming so much and listening to so many different people. No one knows your specific situation.
Oh yeah.
No one knows your specific situation. So
it's like that saying, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. You don't know what's going on in there.
Exactly. You don't know what positions they're in, and they're not going to talk about the specific I mean, I don't know. They're not going to say, hey, this is exactly how I got there. And no one's in your position at your time in your place, right? So for me, it's just been not to say I don't listen, but I'm doing more than I listen, right? If you're always in action doing something, you don't have time to listen to all these gurus or watch these videos and stuff like that, man. And even when you're down or when you're going through hard times, which everyone does, just know no one's posts about it. So I would say for me, it's just taking more action and eating my own dog food. If I say post, do something like this, I'm doing it.
Yeah. If you're post 3 times a day, you're posting 3 times a day.
I post 3 times a day, which I don't believe doing, but whatever you're doing, just eat your own dog food, and it's gonna feel so much better. Because now you're just saying, look at me, look if you're a trainer and you're fit, and it's easy to tell someone else, hey, do this. And I think you can't fill someone else's cup until yours is full.
Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting.
You can't. A lot of people are trying to you should do this, you should do that, and it's what about you? Are you there? Oh well, no, I'm this or that. Right. Once you start taking your own advice, because you're always gonna think man, I have this idea or I have this thing I should do, and it's always gonna eat at you. If you always
if it's always a should, it's just gonna kill you.
Right. So and think about it. Do you think you're gonna get the key to your life in a 1-minute video? Do you think you're gonna do that? No, you're gonna learn something.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know, maybe. No, it could be inspiring, but it's go out and do it. And for me now, I'm hanging out with people like you and hanging out with people that for me, I did not know how powerful my network could be.
I know.
And actually, even on social media, looking for new people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, because it was it was like probably a year and a couple months ago, right? Like,
yeah.
I think
I don't know how we.
It was something on Instagram.
Yeah.
There was like a video that we watched, and then I forget. Or I remember I was like reaching out to people in LA, and I saw your name or something. Yeah, it was something on Instagram, and then you called us, and I couldn't remember if you knew that we were on the East Coast, but you were like, oh yeah, so like we do some video stuff, but like we're trying to do more of it. Like, where are you guys? And we're like, oh, we're in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, well, I'm in LA, and I was like, yeah, well, you can fly us out there. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could. I was like, all right, cool.
But, yeah, that was funny, and then like every once in a while we stayed in touch, and then did the T-shirt giveaway. You won a T-shirt, and just stayed in touch, and then it came out this time, and I'm like, shit, why don't I meet up with them?
Yeah, and I'm like, man, keep yourself accountable. Like for me, when business was slow, one of my good friends and almost like a business mentor to me, he was like, how many networking events did you do this week? I'm like, none. How many calls did you make? How many emails did you do?
Yeah.
It's like, you got to put it out there in the universe. And for me, the crazy thing is when I do all these things, it never comes back the exact same way. Like, it's funny, like when I'm making cold calls or networking or posting on social media, like the business will come left field somewhere else.
Really?
It never comes the exact way I thought it was going to come out. So like, I'll be pumping out content left and right.
Yeah.
And then someone that I met at a networking event last year will call me and say, hey, we want to do this and that. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's funny, like whatever, like you got to put it out there in the universe. Like I always say, the universe is deaf. Yeah. It can't hear you. It can only see what you're doing. So it's like if I'm saying like I want to be this big company, what am I doing to correlate with those actions? Like just me saying it is not going to help. Like me taking action, the universe is seeing like, wow, they're putting out that energy. It always comes back, but it never comes back the same exact way.
Right.
Like I'll be doing a Facebook ad and someone will call me from my email, what I'm saying, that I sent out. Like, oh, hey, we're doing, what I'm saying? Or so, I don't know, like I will be going to a lot of networking events and someone will hit me up on social media.
Yeah. And
it's like, wow, like it just like when you poke one button, it'll come out through another way,
That's funny.
So it's like when
the whack-a-mole.
Yeah, exactly.
You hit the mole and it comes out another.
When you poke life, it's gonna come out another way. And I read this quote, and this last thing, because it was really powerful for me.
Yeah.
You don't get what you deserve; you get what you negotiate. So meaning, and I'll take this like, if you're sitting there like, man, I deserve this much, I deserve to do this much, but you're just sitting there and thinking like, hey, I deserve it. Like it's not gonna come through, man. Like you gotta go out, put in the work, and just negotiate with life. Like, hey, this is what I'm willing to do in order to get there.
Right.
So again, I'm not, up there yet. I'm not gonna, say like, hey, I figured it out. But
right.
As I'm going through, like, hey, man, this is what I'm starting to learn.
Right.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Sweet, man. Well, that's it. Let's wrap up.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
So, give yourself a little plug here. Like, where can people find you?
So people can find me on Instagram at Shanman, ShanMan 379.
All right.
And then my company Instagram is at Digital Faces Marketing. So yeah, that's where we can find us, man. Appreciate it.
Any marketing in LA you need?
Yes, we're here. Yeah. Any social media marketing, video content, web design, anything. We kind of do. Obviously, our bread and butter is the social media management ads. So if you ever need anything in Los Angeles, hit us up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. As always, check us out on Instagram at UpInYourBizPod. We're gonna start putting out clips there once we start doing more videos like this. Stay tuned for next week's episode. And as always, DM us with any questions. Let us know what you think. Post us on your Instagram, tag us, all that. And stay tuned for next week. Adios.
Adios.